Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today we are going to install the Flatline Vanco roof rack, or we're going to begin to install it. We got our kit right here, and we have the top rails. You get two boxes. There's one of two, and two of two. That big box is the ladder, and this is the front fairing. And that's pretty much the case. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start working on opening these up so we can get an idea of where we want to start. All right, as you can tell from the intro, we are installing the Flatline Vanco roof rack system in the van today. Now, this video is intended for beginners, DIYers. If you're an expert installer, you can also learn some things from this as far as how I seal everything up on the roof or prep the holes in the roof of the Ford Transit to accept the screws to bolt everything in. So that's coming up here in just a minute. Now, with this roof rack system, again, it's very DIY, beginner friendly. However, there are a couple of bags of screws that need to get organized before you start really putting everything together so that you know that everything goes in the correct place. Flatline Vanco does have an instruction manual on their website that you can print out and follow for how to install this on your roof if you've never installed something like this before. But overall, it's a very easy kit to install. I think anybody can do it. Simple hand tools. It actually does come with everything you need. It comes with a little IKEA style wrench, and same thing with a little Allen wrench. So technically you can install this with the tools provided. The ladder is the only thing that's a little challenging to install as far as getting it aligned properly, and it's the only thing where you're actually going to have to drill into the body of your van. Now, it's not as scary as it sounds. Just a couple of sheet metal screws to make sure that the ladder locates itself and stays in position at the bottom of the van. So look forward to seeing how I do that later in the video. This is a lengthy video, so at any time you guys want to fast forward, go ahead and do that. Check it out. And yeah, hope you enjoy the install of this roof rack. This lip right here, that's going to be interesting. So we'll see what that looks like. Okay. Next part, or the next move that we need to make is we're actually going to go up here on the roof of the van. And we have these, there's literally a piece of plastic that's glued on top of the roof. And then they paint over it because 99% of, well, not 99%, you got painters, all kinds of stuff, plumbers, electricians. Underneath this, you're going to have a threaded mount. And I'm going to go get the heat gun, and we're going to melt, or we're just going to heat up the adhesive. You use a paint scraper, plastic, not metal, paint scraper. It's going to peel this off nice and neat. And then once we peel this off, we'll have our mounts for the roof open, so we can access the threaded piece. So we're gonna go ahead, get our heat gun, get our putty knife, and then let's go ahead and look at the hardware. It's really simple. It's actually more simple than we got hardware A, hardware B. I love this knife. Off-grid knives. My brother got me this knife. Man, it's so nice. It's got a really good grip right here. It's got a good safety. Opens up really nice. And the best part, it's extremely sharp. Okay. Hardware A. Look at that. Stickers. I love stickers. Okay. So this looks like our hardware to connect our bars and stuff together and mount to here. And I'm guessing this is going to be gaskets. Yep. So we got a plate. So this could be the connecting plate, I'm assuming, for both of those pieces. And then here is what I was looking for. These are the pads that are going to weather seal this to the roof. I will be putting a little bit of this Dynaflex sealant that I have. I may or may not. I will see what it when I tighten it. But this stuff right here, Dynaflex Ultra. I may try a little bit of that. We will see. Okay, let's go ahead and clean off the roof. Get it prepped. And yep, we'll get the time lapse started, and then we'll see you guys up on the roof. Okay, we can put the plate on the inside, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna be using this location, so not this one, not this one, this location. This location and this location. What's nice is you can use these for maybe like solar panels and stuff like that, but I've got a technique that I'm gonna do that I did on my van, and I think it is the best technique because it is the most minimal amount of drilling. You don't drill a big hole and put a cap. You have these weather compression nuts, and I think they're great. So we're just gonna set these up here so we visually know what we're doing. Okay, so we know where we're taking the caps off. This one here is for the ladder side. This will be putting up first, and then this will be the passenger side. And these brackets we'll put on later, they go behind. So we'll do that. It looks like we got a nice amount of room to for adjustment. And I mean, it looks like a really simple install, so I'm pretty excited. Let's go ahead and we're going to take this and grab our, well, grab these two things and get started on this first one. I did use a hair dryer the first time that I did this, so you don't have to have a heat gun, but since we're actually producing vans now on more of a production basis, we need to get that efficiency up. Yeah, so we're gonna take this. I'm not gonna worry about cleaning it off. One thing I might do, nah, it's gonna break off. It's gonna break off because I didn't do this to the other one, so I'm probably not gonna do it to this one. I took like a razor and kind of broke the seal. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna do that. If you guys want a really good razor blade, OLFA, Home Depot Lowe's with a black blade. These blades are made in Japan, and they're really awesome. So check that out. Alright, yeah, so I'm gonna go like this. And I'm gonna cut, I'm just cutting the paint so that when I do melt it off, it's already broken away. Alright, let's go for it. We're doing this one. We got 4. It's the first time I've used this gun, so I'm not sure how hot it's gonna get. This is on low setting. And then what we'll probably do after we get this off is we're going to take another razor and we will clean off the rest of the adhesive. I don't think I have any Goo Gone or anything like that, but having something like Goo Gone, that would help. That would be good. Get some Goo Gone. There we go. Okay, this is gonna be very hot, but I want to get out of the way. Okay, so you got the moves off, and if you guys can see right here, we're gonna reheat this up and get a razor and get the rest of it off. But you see, Ford already has a hole tapped in there, ready. It's already ready to go, which makes this extremely easy. And you can see, we're just gonna put this pad down, lock it down, get our sealing pad, and I think that's pretty good. I usually put just like a little dab of that Dynaflex. I am probably going to do that just to make sure that this is sealed really well, but we're going to reheat this up, get a razor, and we're going to take all this tacky stuff off, and we'll be back. Oh yeah. Okay, that is for Windex. So look at that. I got the thing nice and clean, ready for the bracket pad. Before I took this pad, put it over here. I'm gonna take this out and gonna organize this somehow. And 3 extra. Okay, I think that's making sense. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 for one side, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the other side. And okay, then we got a wrench, we got a bolt, we got a pad. Yeah, so just kind of laying this out and making it make sense. That's kind of my ideal. That's kind of what I do. So we got our bolt. Those washers don't fit the bolt, so this is probably just going to go on top of here. And that is going to provide our seal. We will see how good that is. But I will be screwing this down. And we'll go through this little hole here. So that pops out. Okay. And then I'll put some Loctite on there. And then we'll take it back up on the top. Loctite is in the van. All right, we got our Loctite Thread Locker Blue 242. Okay, this is different than what we used on the Adventure Wagon install. So this is a liquid. What we used on the Adventure Van install was different. Okay, we got a rag up there for our caulk. We'll put it around the hole. Before we let's get this on these rags so we don't scratch this whole roof to pieces. Go. Before we open all this up, I think I have to cut this. Alright guys, we got the instructions printed out because I had a question on what they wanted to do as far as sealing this. And I've always got my perspective from doing this, and since I haven't installed their kit, I will give them the benefit of letting me know what they think is best. So all the bolts that we looked at, those are all right. This is what I was telling you guys out before at the beginning, that if this hole is offset, then you may need to take a Dremel and just cut out a little bit of the circle to get the bolt to go down straight, because you don't want to angle it. That's going to mess a lot of stuff up. Also give you a cause to have a leak, potentially. And if you notice, when we were doing our Adventure Wagon install, I was talking about how the roof ribs will actually not be exactly perfect. They'll kind of be offset, and that is that's one example of how everything on this roof is not really 100% perfect. Yeah, so just a little rant right there. Okay, let's get back onto this. Note, after we cleaned it off, look at this. They are using sealant around the outside of this bracket. I don't think I've seen anybody do that in a YouTube video. So very, very interesting. So what we're going to do, we're going to do what I did on my van because it worked perfect. And that is, we're going to take a little bead and just go around this ring right here, so that when our pad goes down, we got a nice little internal O-ring that's created. And then once we get this out, let's go ahead and test fit it while I'm talking about it. Okay, here's your bracket. And thankfully, it doesn't land like that. It actually covers up that primed surface right there where the paint starts showing. So we're going to do that. We're going to put this here. And then let's take this, we'll go ahead and get this washer all the way down. The nice thing is they've got this washer to it. It's nice and tight on this bolt. So that's giving me some confidence. I took that welding blanket out and I cut myself like a major paper cut with a stupid piece of cardboard in there. So that's why I got my finger all bandaged up. Okay, let's put this in here. And that's a really loose fit around this foam gasket. That's really loose. So definitely going to need to seal that. So probably put a dab there, a little dab there. And then this top part, I think we're okay on this top part. You see, this is going to go down like that. Okay, and then when we have everything sealed, we will take a bead, like they were saying, and we'll come across this side and around here. My only concern is we got the low profile roof rack, so this is the way the brackets are mounted. And this underside, I'm not sure how to get a bead on this underside other than it's kind of a janky way to do it, but go ahead and put the bead on here and then lay this down and then come and make this the final bead. So that's probably what I'm going to do. So we're prepped, ready to do that. So let's go ahead and make this happen. So that looks good right there. So since we know that feels good, we like that. We get some play here, and then with the rails have some play here. So I think we're good to not have to worry about moving that after the fact. Yeah, so let's just make sure this is nice. Let's go ahead and do this one more time. Man, that's a lot of play. I'm gonna try to push it over in here. That way we seal this up. Okay, and do like that. There you go. We'll just do it like that. Okay, and then I'm just gonna hold this. I'm gonna peel this up, and let's just get a little. Let's wipe this off here. A little bit off. This will be fun. Luckily that Dynaflex is easy to work with. Okay, let's move it around here. Okay, so that's that side. It's possible we put too much on, but that's okay. So we'll have to do it on this outside over here anyway. All right, so we got that done. Let's go ahead and push this down. And that's pretty much what happened to me last time, is if you squish this down too much before you get the bolt in, you're gonna get it on the bolt, which is not a bad thing. But the point I'm trying to make is we wanna be able to get our thread locker on the tip of this. So let's go ahead and make our bead here. Then we'll sit this down. And then we'll put the thread locker on the bolt, and then we'll put the plate on, put the bolt in. That'll be what we do. Okay, so this right here. I need to put this on here ahead of time. Now the 242 Loctite, it's not the paste in the stick like I was saying earlier, so be careful because it is liquidy. See how liquid that is? And that's a good amount, that's all you need. Remember, make sure it's on the bottom part of the thread. Not up here, thread at the tip of the thread. Okay, here we go. And guys, if you mess up, you can just clean the surface off and do it again. So we're gonna try to not get this little thread locker. There you go. Okay. How's our pad looking? Looking good. And then hopefully that'll squeeze in and then seal that from the underside. So let's plan on that being what happens. I'm gonna stick to this line being the perpendicular line. So we'll go ahead and just start hand tightening this down. And they got that silly little wrench, so let's use it since we paid for it. Okay, does it say anything about after we put our sealant on? Nope, it just says that you can start attaching the rails right after that. All right. Man. It feels like IKEA. The good news about this bracket, it's so wide. It's got good surface area. The problem that you have is if you notice that was hollow area around where that bolt is being pulled down. So right here is where your strength is. There's nothing in the middle of this. It's just hollow. So if you tighten down too much, that's going to be a problem. So I don't know how tight I'm going to get this because I don't get a feel for what this one's going to be, but let's do it one step at a time here. Okay, that feels pretty good. Yeah. All right, how do we do? Do we put enough? We're taking it off, guys. The way that this roof is, it's not, we didn't put enough of a glob to keep it sealed on that one side. It's okay, take it off. As you see, you'll still have some thread locker on here. So look at that. We got our sealant there, and then we got our thread locker still right there. So we still will put a little bit on here. Guess we're redoing it again. But the good news is that squished out right where we want it. Then we can wipe that off in a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, see? Man, it was such a clean bead. I just don't want moisture getting up underneath here. That would not be good. So let's go ahead and we'll just put just gonna run a bead on the top here. A little bit more aggressively. So we can wipe it away if it's too much. And then I'm actually going to put a bead around this portion. Actually, this is a terrible way to do this. It's a good thing I'm not recording it. All right, so we're definitely gonna have contact. Everybody's in place. Let's get this bolt through here. Bingo. All right, guys, I think we're gonna do it. Gonna sit nicely. Definitely got our Dynaflex over here. I like Dynaflex because it kind of turns into like a gummy eraser when it gets dry, and cleans up pretty good. So we'll redo that when we get it back around again. Okay, let's tighten her back down. Okay, feel good about that. Not sure how much we're gonna have to tighten that down later, but I'm sure we will. Maybe take one more pass at it. I'm not sure. Not sure. And this will be fun too. There. This fuzz. Microfiber, guys. Microfiber. Man, I did not know that much lint was going to come off of that. Okay, so that's sealed over there. Oh no, come on. Killing me. And see, this other part will just rub off. So we'll just let this dry and do its thing, and then we'll clean off some of these bits. Yeah, this stuff dries pretty quick, so it's good stuff. It just dries quick. Yeah, we're gonna let that dry, and then we'll do one more little bead to clean up that corner so it's nice and neat. Even though nobody's ever gonna see that, I see it, and I want it to look good. Okay, that's one bracket. Let's move on to the next one. All right, we moved over here. And this is the one that we're gonna have to grind out. As you guys can see, we're looking straight down. It's not too bad, but what we're gonna do here is we're going to take our Dremel. Okay, we got a little grinding bit on the end of it. And from here it looks okay, but if you notice, right here, we got, not sure if this is gonna, Max is gonna get it right here. So we basically need to take out like that right there. Something like that. So take that out. And that way we'll make sure we're not forcing this. So we'll go ahead and grind that. We need to do a couple things. Down here and below it is no problem. But we just put this caulk on here, so we need to just cover up that, just so we don't get metal filings going into our work that we just did. Got eye protection, got ear protection. Let's grind it out. Okay. We're gonna dab that with a little paint because we did take the paint off of it. So we're gonna let that dry. For just a second, we're gonna go down and spray some white paint in a cup, and we'll put it back. We'll come back up here, we'll dab it around there, blow it out a little bit, and we'll move on. Got our Rust-Oleum in here. Just use the cap, a little artist brush. You can get these any paint store like Lowe's. And yeah, just gonna go around here and give this some love with some paint. That's it. We'll just let that dry, and then we'll go ahead and put our sealer on, and we'll go ahead and put our rail on. And then test it out and see if we need to make any changes, which I hope we don't have to since we already put this down. Which makes me think maybe we should have put that down later in case we need to make any adjustment, but it's okay. If we do, we'll just redo it, no problem. All right, guys, welcome back. We had to call it a night last night, so we're back up here. So that's pretty tacky. We're gonna go ahead and clean this up. We'll probably do it at the end after we get rails on. But yeah. See if we need to retighten anything. Our paint's dry, so we're gonna go ahead and take our sealant and do the same thing that we did yesterday. Alright, testing out this. So we got our hole there, looking good. And you can see that we got our slot down to that end. And that slot is for our ladder to attach, and then our front fairing is going to attach right here. If you notice, I've taped everything off because this is just a quick use of that Dynaflex, and then what I'm going to top it off with, believe it or not, is you guys probably know the product Flex Seal. I know it sounds crazy, but it's really good at putting on the roof. I put it on the roof of my van, and it did an excellent job. It kind of like melts and flows into all the nooks and crannies as it dries, and it just makes a nice rubberized coating to protect it. I like the Dynaflex because it is really flexible, and that's why I'm using it on the inside. And then plus it stays in place. The Flex Seal is very runny, so you have to kind of learn how it flows. It's almost like a what am I trying to call? Not a lap sealant. It's like what typical RVers use to seal roof vents and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, I'm just test fitting this right now. I'm not going to bolt it down. I'm going to let this that caulk down there dry just a little bit that I put in, and then we're going to come back. We're going to paint this with the Flex Seal with a brush. That's another thing, is you can get the container, or you can use a brush to paint with. We're going to do that, and then once that's done, then we'll go ahead and start bolting all this in. But yeah, I was just double checking where these holes are going to line up, and man, everything looks really good. So we're just going to gently lay this back down here. We'll do our Flex Seal, and then we will keep on going. All right, guys, got our Flex Seal liquid opened, and we got one of our artist brush here. I don't think I've used this one. I think we'll use this one. Yeah, this Flex Seal is pretty amazing. Let me try my frayed pieces here off. Yeah, I'll show you what it does. And the reason I'm doing this caulk first, or this sealant first, is because if you use Flex Seal, it just kind of melts away, and it doesn't actually, it's not thick enough to just stay in one place like this stuff is. So yeah, let's just try this out. And see, you just take it, just get on a brush. And I mean, just like you're painting, I'm just going to come in, and I'll probably do 2 coats, because you'll see what will happen is the first coat, it doesn't actually, it's kind of stringy with some lines. And then the future coats will actually adhere better. I'm putting a little thick over here. Yeah, and it just seals, like, see that edge right there? See, this stuff is going to make sure that anything in the crack does not leak. And this really is overkill. I'm also going to paint it around here when we get done, but I want to leave this open so when we get the rails, we'll be able to you know, tighten this up if it starts to loosen up for some reason. I don't predict it's going to, but anyway. And it also just makes a nice, just clean, professional look. So if anybody comes up here to look on the roof, it looks really good. Yep, I'm just gonna keep moving on down. Let that dry, and we'll come back. Back up here on the roof. This thing is dicey. This powder coated or whatever they do, it's very slippery. We're using a 7/16 wrench to connect these, and they give you an Allen key. I don't know what size it is. It's a little tricky because it moves a lot. And the van's on an angle. All that stuff. This is me trying not to smear my sealant I just put on. So I don't have this, but if I had an Allen socket to really get on here, it'd make life much easier. The other thing is I don't know how tight I want this, so I can adjust it. Don't want to tighten it all the way. I want to leave room for adjustment, like I just said. much. All right, so now we still got a little bit of play there. But yeah, that's our first piece installed. Plates all nice and sealed. And pretty much the rest of this process is we're just gonna repeat all the sides. And then when we get close to the end, that's when I'm gonna put that plate in to join them, because we might have like a little bit of deflection. We'll double check everything, tighten everything down, and then we'll go ahead and start to put in the cross members and fairings. And I think we'll be able to get the fairing, the cross member. This, we might not be able to fit this depending on where the roof vent goes. So I'm gonna measure that out and then we'll figure that out. Just heads up. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to get this left side in place, keep the right side loose, and then we'll lift it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide this all the way to the back. That way, hopefully this point over there, if I slide it all the way to the back, the front fairing will be nice and true. Yeah, so that's where I'm going. So I'm going with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this down so this side doesn't move. go down on the lift somehow if we can. Perfect. Have to touch that up. Touch up. Okay, so that's nice and in place. Scratch. Let's move this here. Front that down. Nice. That is really just nice and strong, like it. Okay, look at that. It's like more like an adventure van, huh? Next step, the ladder. Okay. I'll let the GoPro cool down a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, over here at the unboxing table, we got both of our boxes. We're now on the side ladder. So we need to open these up. See what we got going on for the side ladder. More stickers. I like stickers. All right, so we got our two little pegs here. And these are going to be to connect the ladder. Hardware, got a tool, secondary tool, screws, fittings. Okay, sounds good. Box number 2. This was also within the same box. Oh, and the ominous bracket. I don't think this is going to be a big deal. I know a lot of DIYers on YouTube have concern with this, but I think we're going to be all right. So let's just go ahead and get started. Let's start checking out our pieces here. We have our top piece. Make sure we're cutting away from the metal. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to assemble this first. And we might consult YouTube just to double check if we missed anything. A lot of this stuff I've researched ad nauseum, so that's I've got a really good idea of where to start and keep going. All right. So this is what I was talking about. So back here, this is pretty much going to go like that. And then we get the top piece angled. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go pause. We're going to brush up just a little bit on a YouTube video about that bracket and the ladder. Everything in here looks very self-explanatory. Let's just go ahead and open it up. That way when we rewatch the video, it will make sense to us. Okay. All right. Let's check out that video, and then we'll be right back here. All right, guys. The first thing I'm going to do is they call these bayonets. So I'm assuming it's like, you know, like on a gun with the little bayonet knife holder. I guess that's why they called this that. Anyway, so these are those right there. Yeah, so we're just gonna take a handful of these. We do have to flip this over. Let's see here. How can we do this without scratching it? Let's take our... Go. I don't like the way that that's going in. So I'm having to hold this together like this because I don't want this to be a seam as we're getting this ladder put together. We're actually going to Loctite these other two. There she is. Hello. Hello. What are you doing? You just saying hi? All right, we got that done. Next, we have this part. I don't know if I got enough slack. I think I do. For this guy, you're gonna have these bolts. Got 4 for the top, 4 for the bottom. No, 2 for the top, 2 for the bottom, and then we got 2 for this plate. So that's what I want to bring with me right now. And let's go ahead and get a ratchet so that we can There are 2 bolts, 2 washers, our plate. I'm not sure what this is going to look like on the GoPro. I'm going to pause this so it'll be a... Well, no, this will be fun. Let's go with the flow. Yeah, let me pause this to see how this cut looks. Alright, I'm going underneath the van, and I don't know how the self-leveling on this camera, what this is going to look like. But right here is where we're doing our bracket. And this side, we flip it like this. And they must have redesigned this from the last time that I looked. But essentially, this gets bolted in over here with our bolts. And then on the right hand side here, that is where we're going to use our impact driver, and we'll actually I brought the wrench. I left the Allen wrench. Hope I'm not making you guys seasick. Anyway, these are where the impact driver is going to put those plates in, but that's very last. That's after we do at the top and then bolt it here on the bottom. That's last. I'm gonna switch this one up. Keep it so that that bolt doesn't get snagged on stuff outside. No, but you hand me that bolt. I can't believe I did that. Washer goes on the nut side. Come on, Nick. We're gonna do some thread locker on this one too. Oh man. Maybe videotaping like this would be so fun. Not the rookie mistake if I ever saw one. Alright, and so we can actually get this higher or lower, but we need to find out where the ladder is down here. And I've actually made these too tight. So let's go ahead and loosen these up just a bit. Go. Right, that way we can up and down. All right, let's go ahead and get our ladder on. Here guys, time for the ladder. Let's get our tools. Give us enough space so we can get up there. This is gonna tag Nova. Permanently scar her for life. Alright, so that should get us to where we want. Upside down. Yeah, I love these grippy feet. That makes a huge difference. Let's try to get one side on here first. It's going to rotate a little bit. Make sure we put our washer on. Then we'll get our nut. And we'll reposition our ladder after we get this second nut and washer on. Okay, just slowly bring it up. There we go. The nut, the washer, then the nut. Okay. I'm just gonna leave those just hand tightened for right now. Let's see what we got going on down here. So we're gonna pull this out. Look at that. Okay. So let's get our hardware and then we'll mount that. And we'll be much closer. Right, gonna put the bolt through. Washer on the back side. And the nut. And this is what I was talking about the window. So I'm gonna have this come as forward as possible. All right, and then that looks really good. Just like that. Excellent. And we'll probably make sure that it's we're going to tighten that one up so we'll have a pivot point, and then we'll tighten this down here because we want this, see right there, we want this nice with the body line. So we push it all the way left, we're going to just tighten that top left. All right, didn't see that in the video. That makes sense. All right, let's go ahead and finish this up. So what we had to do come back up here at the top. So what we had to do is the 2 bolts here that connect this plate together, we had to remove those in order to put the ladder up here, which makes sense. And if you look at our body line, we get the ladder and the body line nice and straight. So what that's done is that puts a small angle, but you have room to make that angle happen. So we bolted this in, took these 2 out. These bolts act as a replacement for these 2. So everything's still, man, that is solid. That is nice. So if we move over here, come back down, we've got this bolt in, so we got those 2 bolts in, and those were what we bolted down to get the side-to-side movement locked in. And then if we go back under, Nova's checking in on us. Oh. Go back under here. This is, so you'll see this is where our final position got us, right in here. And then the way this bracket looks, I mean, we look like everything looks like it's doing really nice. So since this is all happy, this is in the right spot, now what we can do, let's get in here and I'm gonna go ahead and get in here and get this cinched down permanently. That feels really good. All right, good. What we'll do is we're going to get the impact and we're going to drill in those screws right here.
Okay, so I'm going to pause that frame right there. I didn't really talk too much about this, but where I showed you all those holes are, as you can see right here on the bottom of this picture, those are where you're going to drill in these sheet metal screws. I think they give you like 4 screws, but you just want to put maybe 1 every other hole going into the bodywork, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to fill up every single one of those holes with sheet metal screws. 4 is going to be great. And then, so once you finish that, you'll be complete with the ladder install. But I did leave that out of this video. I'm not sure where that footage went. But that is how you mount the ladder up to the body. And this is the final product. This is what the ladder looks like on the side of the van. Nice and lined up with the body seam. A little bit of a wider angle. And then one more angle for you guys. This next section, I'm going to take you into the passenger side of the van, and that's where we're going to take off from here. Hey guys, welcome back to the shop today. We are in the second part of this video where we are working on the passenger side. As you can see, we got a max fan in here, and the reason we did not put this passenger side in was because we wanted to have access to install the max fan without having this rail in the way. So this one, max fan, it's in a separate video. You guys can check that out. But now we're over here, passenger side. We've gone ahead and taken the heat gun and taken off these painted caps with the adhesive. We use Goo Gone to take the adhesive off, and it makes it really, really easy, nice clean surface. That way you don't have to scratch up the paint. The next step is to prep for these foam pads from Flatline Vanco. But before you do that, just like we did on the other side, kind of repeating the whole process, we need to look down here and make sure that we have access to our screw hole to bolt this down. This front one and the very rear one,
the screw is offset enough to where I'm actually going to have to take this Dremel tool and Dremel it out. So we did that on the other side. So you're probably going to have to do it on both sides regardless. There's going to be one or two that you're going to have to grind out. So that's what we're doing right now. We'll grind it. We will do our rust preventative, which is essentially just gloss white spray paint from Rust-Oleum. That's what I use. And then once we do that, we'll let that dry. We'll take our sealant, we'll put a circle around here. We'll do a circle around the pad, put the pad down, bracket, tighten it down. Once we get tightened down, we'll put a bead around here. We'll let that dry, and then we always do our triple coat, which is a final coat of the Flex Seal around the edges, and that really just gives it the ultra seal. You know, water's just going to always shed off. You don't have to water kind of creeping in. Now, even though technically the foam pad is enough, I like to have at least 3 levels. So the foam pad is step 1, the sealant is step 2, and then the outer sealant is step 3. And that way you just really have confidence that you're not going to have any water getting into the van. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and kick on to the time lapse and go ahead and finish installing the passenger side. Alright guys, that is it for our Flatline Vanco roof rack system install. We got everything complete. We got the roof rack, we got the ladder. There is one more thing that I'm going to put on here. It's the front fairing, which is extremely simple. It only takes 4 bolts, just like these cross members. But I'm ending the video here because the next step is to get these solar panels mounted. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of moving these bars around, so I want to keep them loose. I didn't seal that side over there because I want to be able to move the feet just in case I need a little bit more flexibility. So this side over here is pretty much where it's going to be forever. But yeah, front fairing, a couple seals on the passenger side, and when I say that, I mean doing the flex seal around the corner. I'm going to be moving it around like I just said, so we're going to keep that to very last when we know the exact position of the solar panel spacing. The solar panels we have are 52¼ inches by a little less than 26½. So we're going to see how many that we can actually fit on here. And before I end the video, as you guys notice, the max fan right here is located where this bar is, and this is not good. So you may be asking, you know, why do I have this up and why do I have this bar installed? I installed this bar so that I could make sure that the everything is nice and level and straight and these beams are going directly over these points, so you want to have the beams initially over those points before you tighten everything down kind of where it's going to stay. This will be removed once I get everything locked down. This will be removed, so this will go ahead and close. Now if you were doing a build on your own, this is why I always kind of harp on thinking ahead, like a couple steps ahead, because everything is connected to everything, everything affects everything. So to explain this situation, the Adventure Wagon kit has a pre-installed fan the cutout for the fan is already pre-done. I'm sure you can call them up and get them, a different location. However, the kit that I had, I didn't know at the time that I may be getting the Flatline Vanco or doing something different. So if you already went with the Adventure Wagon, the good news is the Flatline Vanco kit can be accommodating. So these slides right here, these bars can fit in these slides, and this can move back. So that will be its future position. However, when you're thinking about doing your van build, remember that some components may not play well with others, so you got to design flexibility in mind when you do that, especially the vent fan, because once you put it in, you're not going to be moving it in, you're not going to be moving it a couple inches forward or backwards. So keep that in mind. We decided that the Adventure Wagon kit had the pre-cut hole. We were going to follow its instructions and locate it exactly where it needed to be, so everything lined up inside. And then I was going to get the roof rack and then make adjustments as needed. So this bar will go back. There is one bar that's not up here. So the kit comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these crossbars. So for the solar panels, we'll be using 1, 2, 3, 4. We actually may use 4. And then we'll put one up here just for structural integrity where it's needed. Technically the front fairing replaces one of the bars, so that's why we have extra, or one extra. Because typically if you didn't get the front fairing, you would put that one bar in its location. So when we do the solar panel install, I'll do a final recap of where everything got finalized on the roof rack, location wise, and how the solar panels actually fit up here, and that way you'll see a full roof system that's completed. And then last but not least, we haven't cut a hole out here for our wiring of our solar panels or lights or anything like that, and we're going to wait till we know exactly where everything goes, so we can kind of play around with solar panel placement. And then once we know exactly where everything goes, we're going to go ahead, drill that hole in the roof, and I'll show you that. That'll actually be in a separate video of how to weatherproof your wire roof. That will be yeah, but that is going to be it for the installation video for the Flatline Vanco Low Pro roof rack system. And if you have any questions, put those down in the comments below. I'd be happy to put that or answer those questions in a future video. You guys, we will see you in the next video.